think this gentleman.
Hey, I was really fascinated by how you said you like to mix the high and the low aspects of art. How did I just stand up? And I wanted to know, like, since the 80s when commercials were low art, well, they still are, but the paradigm has shifted considerably since then. What are you interested in any of the new technological aspects of, like, low art and pursuing anything in that regard, or?
Well, what's low art?
That's kind of my
Comic
question
books?
too. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I think that there's as many ways to make art as there are people making art, and I always look for the best artist in that practice. And I don't privilege one art form. I really don't over another. Academia says minimalism is rules, but not necessarily. You know, I think they're all pretty equal. Really important. All the practices are important. I love everything. Well, this young man's asked first, and then there's a young lady back there.
Hi, it's a two-part question. So you said in your recent work it's about Photoshop, but you're still shooting analog.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering why you haven't just gone full digital. What still attracts you to film?
Well, you know, I'm so into surfaces because I'm a painter mostly. Mm-hmm. And I just don't get the depth, you know. You never get that. You just don't get that light going through a condenser. And I lose too much detail. I would do it in a second, but I've rented lots of people are trying to get me to go. I still, as a painter, I'm not ready. You know I can fake it with digital, and I can get close. But why not shoot film and scan it?
My second part of the question is, when you get to the final Photoshop file with all the layers, how do you get from there to the final painting?
Well, even the final painting changes from the Photoshop layers. It's just that there's this act of discovery that you can't. It's one of those experiential things, and there's no way to predict. Nothing ever, and no, I don't know any artist who says. Can't imagine an artist who says that this is their ideas don't constantly percolate and change before their final product. And I think if you're smart, you go with that gut thing to change things. Instead of saying, oh, I'm not going to change it, I'll do the next one. You know, that. I know there's a lot of artists in here, so I just wanted to say that. Go with your gut all the time. There was a young lady.
I really loved Green Pink Caviar, and I actually stood and watched it on loop for a while in the Met this past week. But the MoMA. What did you like about working in video, and are you planning on doing it again?
Yes, I'm about to shoot another video. I love it. I love high definition video. I love the way it looks. But I like anything that it's like a moving painting in some ways. And it wouldn't work for me unless I had an idea, and I like this idea that I'm going to do. So it's just one of those natural. It seems like I can do video photography and painting. It makes sense to me. One doesn't steal from the others. I think that's it. No, one more. Sure.
Here she comes.
Here she comes.
Right. Your initial paintings, you mentioned screen print, I believe. Is that a technique? Or
no, it was fake mechanization. It wasn't screened. I actually painted each one of those dots.
Okay.
I just had the projector on.
Okay.
When I was painting. The food porn was all dots. Yeah, hand done.
So my question is, and maybe it's kind of obvious, but I'm just curious, you haven't talked maybe about your influences. I know a lot of your imagery really references fashion and kind of that culture of products and beautification and all of these things, but I'm curious what it does. I know your campaign or your work with Mac or Madonna, it does filter into popular culture, and I'm just curious how much you look at that world and what your relationship is and how you situate yourself and.
Well, I think interesting art to me is art that's about the times we live in, and I think art that's interesting shines a light on these times, and I'm more interested in these multiple layers of multiple reads of the cultural products that we have around us, and I feel like that we get too much. It's too easy to criticize glamorous imagery, and it's we all know the drawbacks of seeing models that are too skinny, or airbrushed robotic human beings. That's just too easy, because at the same time these images are giving enormous pleasure to people, but they always know that they're never going to look like that. Even the models don't look like that. Nobody looks like that anymore. Nowadays nobody looks like this, and but it's still giving you enormous amounts of pleasure to see these images when you go through these magazines. And I like the idea of trying to make a picture of what that feels like to look. So I don't want to tell you what to think. I want you to come to your own conclusions. It's like most things, in my world, it's all the gray areas, and two opposing ideas can be held in the same moment. And that's complicated. I think that life is so complicated that I like to try and mimic that in my art, or somebody else.
What did your mom think of the photos that you took of her?
She's dead long ago. When you're a drug addict, you don't live very long. Well, some people do. William Burroughs.
What gives you angst, both while you're painting and also in the sort of global?
Well, I don't never want a painting. That gives me enormous pleasure. Painting is therapeutic. What gives me angst? Politics. Cruelty. Being right up here right now. The usual suspects.
Hi. Is it comfortable for you to work with fashion people or commercial art?
No, but most of the time they don't want to work with me. It's more, I did this. I've only done 2 things in my life. It's like the commercial world doesn't really hire me, but when they do, they're open. I mean, I'm going to piggyback anything I can on, because frankly, it's the fashion glamour world is so all encompassing. I don't know the latest fashions. I don't know the latest makeup artists. I don't want to pay for catering. I don't want to pay for film. This is expensive to do a photo shoot. If I can piggyback some art on it, I'm going to take advantage of those resources. But very few people hire me. Too bad, huh? There's somebody here.
I've been asked to stand up. Continuing on your comments about your work and its connection to our culture, I wanted to ask you about how much further you think you can go with what you're looking at with women, because one of the things that I'm so interested in with your work is how far you're going with what you're looking at with women, with makeup, with shoes, with clothes, with sweat, with eyes, with glitter, with everything that we do to ourselves. And I'm wondering, what's that next step for you?
I don't think it's finite, because fashion's constantly changing. And I paint guys too, by the way. No one notices that.
No, I know.
Yeah, but there's no. The world just keeps producing imagery, and it's just gonna be for me to make sense of in my way. it's a real natural thing. It would be like, when does creativity stop? Because being in that, creating these images, it's an art form. Not mine, but the ones I'm riffing off of.
Right.
And that's not going to stop.
Hi. So you've collaborated with Wangeshi and Pam. So you collaborated with Wangeshi and Pam. Any other dream?
Madonna.
And Madonna. Any others you'd like to collaborate with?
Yes. Yeah, I'd like to work with Lady Gaga. I think that's it. Last question, anybody? Well, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Great job, man. Perfect.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you, Marilyn Minter and Gregory R. Miller. Marilyn's going to stick around and answer any follow-up questions and personalized copies of her book for you each. You can purchase downstairs on your way out of the store. There's a stack right there, and there are plenty up here. You can visit strandbooks.com for upcoming events. Thank you very much.
Thank you.